This is a presentation to update the teaching profession on the department's plans for the professional body for teaching in Northern Ireland. This video is approximately 6 minutes long and is aimed at providing information on recent decisions made by the Minister and how these will affect you individually and impact on the profession as a whole. Early in 2024, the department issued a similar video to every teacher in Northern Ireland, providing an update on the department's work to find a fit-for-purpose replacement for GTCNI. The video noted that we were exploring all possible options and took into consideration the timeliness of getting a fully functioning body up and running, as well as the cost to the profession. We also took note of the previous feedback that core functions should be retained and that any replacement should remain representative of the profession. Over 1,000 teachers responded, with a majority in favour of the department's plans. Although a small number of responses questioned the need for a professional body, a larger number of respondents noted the importance of being recognised as a professional and being part of a professional body. Whilst the department had initially marked GTCNI for closure in 2021, there have been comprehensive improvements in its governance, accountability and operational performance. As the engagements confirmed, GTCNI's functions were still important to the profession, and these improvements have allowed us to consider reforming the existing body rather than closing it to create a functionally identical replacement. Evaluation of all the options revealed that this is also the most cost-effective and efficient way to ensure that the key functions will continue. Following careful consideration of all of these factors, the Minister has taken the decision to retain and reform GTCNI. Legislation is being brought forward on this basis, and this will be known as the General Teaching Council Bill. The main purpose of the bill is to ensure GTCNI operates effectively and efficiently for the profession. However, there are a few notable changes. The non-executive board will be restructured. As previously proposed and recommended by the 2021 independent review of GTCNI, there will now be 12 board members. 6 of these will be registered teachers. All of the members will now be appointed through a skills and experience-based public appointments process. This will ensure the board has a mix of skills required to provide strategic direction and effective governance for GTCNI. The department will appoint the board and chairperson from the candidates, and this process is already used to appoint the majority of the board's leading non-departmental public bodies in Northern Ireland. You may be aware that weaknesses in current legislation have prevented GTCNI from fully regulating the profession. This bill will correct all of these weaknesses. This means GTCNI will have the powers to be able to investigate any allegations of unacceptable professional misconduct and serious professional incompetence, or convictions of irrelevant offence. They will be able to establish independent panels to investigate and sanction those found guilty of such misconduct and offences. In addition to regulation, the bill will establish offences for anyone providing misleading or false information for the purposes of registration or pretending to be registered with GTCNI. These offences will attract a fine up to £2,500 and are aimed at protecting the integrity of the profession. In addition to those changes coming into effect right away, there are 2 powers included in the bill that can only be activated at a later date. These will only be considered following consultation with the profession and key stakeholders. The first is provisional registration. This will allow applicants who have minor deficits in their qualifications to be provisionally registered, allowing them to teach for a period while they work to fill the identified gaps in their qualifications and fully meet GTCNI's qualification rules. The second future power is professional revalidation. This would require all registrants to periodically demonstrate their continued participation in teacher professional learning, ensuring their practice and pedagogy remain relevant and up to date. The bill will provide a legal basis for these powers to be considered, but again, they will only be adopted and commenced following consultation. There are no immediate changes for you, the teacher. GTCNI will continue to be funded by fees. The majority of professional bodies collect fees from their registrants, and GTCNI is no different. Once fully operational and carrying out all of its functions, it will be necessary to readjust and raise the annual fee, which has not increased in over 20 years. Once the bill comes into effect, GTCNI will be able to investigate misconduct and cases of professional incompetence. This is something that can only serve to protect and increase public confidence in the profession. There are some other changes included, which will allow for GTC&I to operate more effectively. For example, how information is shared between other regulators. These changes are mostly operational and for the benefit of the profession, but will not affect you as a teacher. The bill will be introduced into the Northern Ireland Assembly and will be passed to the Committee for Education for scrutiny. The committee will consider the bill's content and how it will affect the profession, and will invite views and evidence from stakeholders. Once the scrutiny is complete and it moves through the primary legislation stages of the Assembly, it will become law and implementation can then begin. Following a period of transition from when it becomes law, a new non-executive board will be appointed and regulatory powers will come into effect. GTC&I will then be in a position, for the first time ever, to discharge all of its functions as originally intended, and will finally be the professional body all of our teachers deserve. Thank you for watching. The department appreciates your time and input to date. Should you wish to submit any comments, please close this video and head to the feedback section.